Good morning, Big Brother fans, or afternoon, or evening, whenever you happen to hear this. It is Thursday, March 22nd, and, just thought I'd pop on and say hello. I have some spare time in my driving, and wanted to update some of you on my thoughts of the world, or in the world, or about the world. Specifically related to cable cutting and Big Brother Canada. We'll tackle Big Brother Canada first. I am watching it. I'm only watching the TV show and very limited information about the feeds. For example, it is Thursday. I have not watched Wednesday's show yet. It airs on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I have not watched last night's show yet. It is the Power of Veto show. Today would be a Thursday, would be a live eviction show. Well, I don't think they do live. I think they record it and then they play it. So they tighten it up a little bit with the editing and such. But it's a really weird, different experience to watch it. I've lasted longer than I ever have before with Big Brother Canada. And I'll keep grabbing it. So those of you, the thing that people are always like, how can I watch it? How can I watch it? So I'm going to give you my way to watch Big Brother, which does not involve a VPN, does not involve any super... I got a couple different ways, but this is the way I've actually been doing it. And it kind of touches on my cord cutting a hair, so I'll kind of, cross over between the two, but I'm not going to get super technical. I'm giving you the very, very basics of what I'm doing. So, at my home, I have a computer. I have lots of computers because that's the kind of computer geeky person I am. But one of my computers is running a program called Plex, P-L-E-X. Now, this is it's in essence a media server. In essence, it's just a little machine. It just sits there, a little program, and I've configured it, and I've pointed to a certain place on my computer hard drive. That doesn't, that's not terribly important, other than if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's probably not something you want to delve into, but if you do, then you roll your eyes at how simplistic I'm being. But I'm trying to walk that fine line. So, it's a computer. The program Plex is running on a computer. It is... It points. I pointed it towards actually another computer, but for anybody else, it could just be a spot on the hard drive of the computer that it's running on, where media files are stored. Now they can be music files. They can be video. They're mostly usually video files, be it movies or TV shows or home videos even. And I can connect to that from a computer, from my phone, from my smartphone, from my Roku, which I have several Rokus. And so my Rokus are hooked up to the TV, and I pull up my Plex channel on my Roku, which I've installed, and it connects to my Plex server and says, hey, here's all the stuff you can watch. Okay, so that's one way to watch media with cord cutting is that you download all the stuff you want to watch off the internet. So how am I getting a downloadable copy of Big Brother Canada? So what I've been doing is you have to get it fairly quickly. So I know the shows are on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursday. So I'm probably going to have a problem this next week because I'm going to be offline next Wednesday, and actually Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm not going to have real good internet access, so I may have to find another route, and I have lots of ways I can do this. But this is the way I've been doing it, having internet access. I go to YouTube, okay, and I search for the following: Big Brother Canada S6E. In this case, last night it was 7. So season 6, episode 7. That's the nomenclature, the way that the people post these things that are on the geeky side of us, not just Big Brother episode 6, or it's Big Brother usually S06, so season 6 and episode 07 for episode 7. But I think the person that's been posting them, or one of them, has just been doing S6E7. So tonight, a couple of hours after the show, S6E8 should show up. And it'll only be there for a while because YouTube eventually deletes it, or the user deletes it themselves. I don't know which. However, for that brief time that it's up, I can go to that page where it's at. Okay, you start to watch it. You click on it to watch it, and really all you're interested in is the address where that video is at. You take that address, and then you use another program or another web page, and I can't tell you a specific one. There is one called KeepVid, KeepVid, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't just type that in and start looking for it, because there are sites out there that use that same title that are kind of malicious and bad for your computer, so you kind of have to be very careful. But I'm just saying there are YouTube downloader pages, and you have to find one that works properly. Again, this is why I don't and others don't like to give technical advice, because all of these things we say come with the caveat of, but you have to be really careful because you can get bad things on your computer if you don't know what you're doing and if you click on the wrong thing. So you have to bear that in mind. But you get a YouTube downloader, you drop in the address of that video, and it will download the actual video itself from YouTube to your local computer. So you don't have to stream it over the internet. You can just download it locally. Now, with that file in hand, you can sit there and watch it yourself. And actually, if you get it at the right time, you can sit there and watch it on YouTube. But you just have to know that at any moment, YouTube could delete the video. And so that's why I grab it. It only takes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes to download it versus 40 minutes to watch it. So I just grab it, and I could just keep it locally on my computer and watch it. They're running about 150 megabytes. That's about the average size of an episode. The quality is it's not super high quality. It's not something, you're not going to throw it up on your high-def television and go like, oh my God, this is so cool. You're going to put it up on your high-def television and go, wow, it's kind of blotchy, kind of pixely, but I don't care. I'm not watching these shows to be awed at their visual clarity. Okay, I just watching it for the information and to see what happens. So that's what I do. I download it, then I throw it on my Plex server to watch it at a later date. Plex actually is smart enough that if you name the files properly and put them in the right place, it will actually have a folder that says Big Brother Canada Season 6, and then it'll have episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in this case now I have 7. So I have all 7 episodes of Big Brother Canada on my Plex server. Now, other ways that you can go about getting this same show, you can use torrents. It usually takes a little bit longer for those to show up. Torrents probably don't show up until closer to 3 or 4 or 5 hours after the episode airs. You can also, one other thing that I have done, besides people that go to a link to watch it live, which there are links out there to watch it live as it airs, is if any of you remember the program called Hola, Hola, okay, now I'm not encouraging you to do this, but there was a program for a while that it's still around called Hola that's a web plugin that you can pretend that you're from a different country. Because if you go to Global TV, which is the Canadian channel that plays Big Brother Canada, it'll say if you're in the United States, it'll say, no, you can't watch it because it's blocked from your area. But if you use this Hola, you can say, no, let's pretend I'm from Canada, and it will allow you to watch the video. So I can actually right now fire up this plugin on my web browser, go to Global TV this morning, and it would have last night's episode on in much better quality than what I'm going to have it on mine. But it involves this plugin, which for those of you that don't remember, that Hola came out and was like, oh, this is so cool. Then it turned out that they were, in essence, letting other people glom onto your IP to do things. And so it wasn't necessarily, they claim that they only have advertising and stuff now, but I'd still be a bit twitchy about using it. As it were, because I was talking about it back in the day when people were all using it, got a bunch of referrals, and I have the premium service, and I'm putting quotes in that. I have the premium service. This is supposed to have no ads, and it's supposed to be better for you and everything until like 2022 or something, because lots of people signed up through my referral when everyone was doing it. And then we've heard that, it may not be the best thing. And so we all stopped referring to it, but I still had all these accumulated credits. So anyways, that's how I'm watching Big Brother Canada. I can't even tell you the names of everybody that's on it. I'm kind of like, it's okay, I guess. I know that I'm missing a lot, and I don't know what's all going. I don't know the real backstory of what's going on. I can't even keep track of all the showmances. There's like 3 showmances, or maybe even 4. So all in all, it's kind of like I'm barely watching it, but I'm like, I'm going to soldier through it. I'm going to watch this one so I can at least say, oh yeah, I saw season 6. But it's been tough. It's not, and I think some people would tell me that this isn't a typical season, that there's too many showmances and stuff. So, and it was canceled last year, and then the fans supposedly brought it back, with all their support. So, it's not like it's been wowing people, apparently, before this year. But that's where it's at. I have no clue who's going to win that show. I don't care. I can't even tell you half the names, and I just don't know what all's going on it, so I can't discuss the actual ins and outs, just that I am watching it. The other thing, and I've taken too much time talking about Big Brother Canada, but I did touch on using Plex. I have, as of tomorrow, I will not have watched my regular cable TV for a week, which is a long time for me. A week ago, I signed up for one of these services that streams all the channels and stuff over the internet, and I have used that exclusively for the last week, and that includes watching all my basketball that I watched last weekend. Those were available, which would have been one of my caveats. I may do another one of these to talk about what all I went through as far as cutting the cord, but I haven't officially cut the cord yet because I'm still paying Comcast/Xfinity for the TV that I'm not using. And I also have like 4 TiVos that are basically gonna be just tired VCRs when I'm done with this, because there really won't be any new content going up on them because they'll have nothing to record unless I hook an antenna up to them. But I've done it, and this particular service I chose, I narrowed it down. It really depends on what channels you want to get. So my wife is a big HGTV watcher, and that put a little bit of a limit on what I could choose from. And I also have, there's 5 of us in my family, and so one of the limits on some of these streaming services that you can sign up for, and what I'm talking about is I'm talking about services like YouTube TV, PlayStation View, Sling, and Direct TV, or Direct, whatever it is the Direct TV one is as a version of it. So those kind of things are what I'm talking about. Almost all of them, there's also one called Philo, which is a very small, low-end one, but it has its reasons that people would want to use it, and one of my coworkers uses it. They all have a limit on how many multiple streams you can have going at once. In other words, think of it as how many TVs can you have on at the same time. And most of them are a limit of 3. Kind of like Netflix. My current subscription only allows us to have 2 simultaneous streams. These services are like 3 total streams, different channels being watched. Now that's potentially not enough for my family, where we have 5 people. Even though some of my kids aren't even at home, of course, they still share my stuff. And so I wanted to make sure there was a service that preferably had more than 3 available. That knocked it down to 1 provider. There's only 1 provider that gives you more than 3 as an option of streams to watch. And then another thing was this HGTV channel, and I needed to have certain sports channels available. I'm in the Big Ten area. I am a college basketball fan. I've grown up with college basketball and football to a certain extent. So that needed to be a consideration. That I needed my Big Ten. I need to be able to watch my Big Ten TV, my Big Ten team play, and they play a lot on the Big Ten network now. So that was another consideration as far as what I wanted to get. So taking those things into account, I had narrowed it down to YouTube TV, but that didn't include HGTV, which was a problem. and then PlayStation View, which sounds weird, but they're basically their own little thing. You don't need a PlayStation to use PlayStation View. As far as cost goes, I think YouTube TV I chose the exact wrong time to do this. YouTube TV raised their prices by $5 a month, literally the weekend before I decided to do this. So it's $40 a month for YouTube TV. You get a ton of channels. You can actually have like 6 different accounts, so people can individualize their accounts, and then you can actually share it with friends that don't have access to your account as far as seeing what you're watching or changing what you're doing and everything. And then but that's still there are 3 maximum streams, and they don't have HGTV. Okay, so that was $40. Philo TV, the one that I mentioned, or Philo, whatever it is, it's PHILO, I think. They're only $16 a month. They don't have that many channels, but one of the channels they do have is HGTV. So at one point I considered going with YouTube TV plus Philo TV, and I would be paying about $56 a month. Obviously, I'd get additional streams, at least for the Philo channel, so that would have been a potential thing to consider. But what I ended up doing was the one that I was most likely to use was the PlayStation View, actually, because it allows up to 5 streams. It includes all the sports channels I was interested in, and includes HGTV. And it's $45. The particular plan that I wanted that had those things was $45 a month. And so I signed up for that on last Thursday with a free 5-day trial. And by the end of the night, I was like, okay, this is it. If I'm going to do it, this is the one that I'm going to do it with. It allows you to record. There's some cons to all of it. There's a problem. Like, one of the cons would be that even if you're recording something, you can't watch it. You can't, if you come in late, a half hour late, you can't start at the beginning. You have to wait till it's completely recorded before you can start watching it. That may be something they change in the future. But anyways, the long and the short of it is, the one I decided to go with was PlayStation View, and it's VUE. If you're looking at checking that stuff out, you might check into it. I may do a longer one of these later. But because I'm like, I hate writing, guys. I hate typing. It's like, oh, I need to type all this up. I have a web page that I bought a domain several years ago specifically about cutting the cord, and I finally done it. It's like, oh, I don't want to write these articles. Ugh, I just don't want to sit and just type. I just like talking. Plus, I can do it while I'm driving. So PlayStation View is what I've been going with. It records all my shows. Another con to it is that if you say record, like I said, record NCAA, the basketball, it's recording. I say recording with little air quotes. It's not, I mean, however they're doing it. Every single NCAA game. You can't just say just new episodes or only with this team, or you can't filter it down very much. It's all or nothing. If I say record an episode, if I say record a certain show, it's going to probably record every single show. And it's not that it fills up your recorder, because you have unlimited recording. And that's the other thing. These recordings only last 28 days. There's another comparison between PlayStation View and YouTube TV. The one knock on it was, I think, YouTube TV has a 9-month retention. So if you record something, it's there for 9 months. PlayStation View and most others are much less than that. And in this case, it's like 28 days. 30 days. Now, if it's still available on demand, you can always go back and get it, but your recordings only last 28 days. That may prove to be a problem later on, because I used to be someone that would record a bunch of things on my TiVo, and I would just record them knowing that I could go back anytime I ever wanted in the future and watch it. So I could record a whole series, and it'd just pile up on my TiVo, and I could wait a year before I'd go back and watch it. That won't necessarily work. But again, using these other programs like Plex that I have access to, and the way that I know that I can go get these kind of things online via like torrents, and these are the kind of things that get into the gray, well, actually super shady area. I have the ability to go find entire seasons of shows and get them if I want to do it that way too. So there's a lot of different options out there. I also am considering getting a real antenna and putting it in my attic to catch a few channels. As it turns out, the other thing that you have to take into consideration, and this obviously doesn't affect most of America, but a lot of us don't live near a large urban center and don't necessarily have access to over-the-air television. I can barely pull in Chicago stations if I have an antenna. I haven't tried it yet, but that's what everything keeps telling me, that I should be able to get Chicago stations, but I think it's going to be a stretch. But for those of you that don't live real close to broadcast stations, some of these places, they now have live TV, but they're kind of iffy. I happen to live in an area where I get all the Chicago stations included in my PlayStation Vue account. However, if I lived, I'm not kidding you, if I lived 5 miles further away south from where I live, I would not have any live ABC, CBS, NBC, any of those. I wouldn't have an option to watch any of those live over my PlayStation Vue. It just wouldn't be included because of where I live. I'd have nothing. I'd just have to watch on-demand stuff, and that might have factored into my decision to do this if I didn't have that option. So that's one other thing to keep in mind. All right, I got to go, guys. I'm sitting in my car talking to myself in a parking garage, and I have work to do. So have a wonderful day. Good to talk to you all. Glad you got to hear me. Huh, aren't you so happy? That sounds very self-centered. But hey, what do you expect from a guy who sits in a car and talks to himself? Anyways, hope everyone's doing well. I may do another one of these later, but as it happens, I'm going on vacation this coming week, and so I will be off the net for at least a few days. I'm going to totally cut the internet and sit on a ship for a few days. So I hope you're all doing well, and June is not that far away, and we'll be talking about Big Brother 20. Oh my gosh. Take care, everybody. Ooh, longest thing in a long time, 21 minutes. See ya. Bye.